All right, the Bucks. It is Talking Buccaneers with me, for my name Sisinyane, before the third place mighty Buccaneers travel to the Harry Gwala Stadium for a 3 p.m. kickoff on Sunday to play 12th place Royal AM. And these aren't my favorite ones, to be entirely honest with you. My favorite ones being the sort of 5 p.m., 6 p.m. kickoff in the autumn on a Saturday evening at Orlando Stadium, where we can turn out and sort of do our thing there at the stadium, or in the spring, the sort of 8 p.m. kickoff, where we can light our torches and have a festival atmosphere as we're cruising in the game. So these ones on a Sunday where the players are going to Harry Gwala, that kind of thing, that's not my favorite one. We're going to be playing in that green kit probably. Those have proven to be hard. And actually, as an Orlando Pirates fan, when I think about the biggest games in the season, they don't come any bigger than a Royal AM away game. And before you sort of come for me, let me explain to you why. When I think about the biggest game as an Orlando Pirates fan, I'm not thinking Sundowns, even though that is a big game that we like to win. But I think what has proven to be hard for us as Orlando Pirates is to actually win the away game at Chippa United, the odd away game at Cape Town Spurs, or home game at Cape Town Spurs, the Polokwane City game. And I think those games where you're playing against a 12th place team and you go away and you drop those points is the reason why we sit third, 3 points behind Stellenbosch. Right, and I think that's what for Pirates is the big occasion. I think what we've proven is that we've got the potential to blitz teams. And in fact, speaking of blitz, I think I was thinking of something recently that as Pirates fans, what we'd rather have is not to win 7-1 in a one-off game. But if you say to me, we can win 7 games in a row, just winning 1-0 in 7 games in a row, would take that rather than scoring 7 goals in one game. And I think that's what has been keeping us from challenging. It's these games. It's the Royal AM game where you're going away and you're thinking that's where we should be going and getting the points and coming back home with the points. But these games can prove to be sort of 1-0 defeat or a 1-1, 2-2 kind of game. And that's the reason why I think these are the big games for us. If we're going to challenge Mamelodi Sundowns in the league, it's not to beat them. It is to beat the Royal AMs, because Sundowns tick those games off so easily. And I think that's the standard we've got to get to, that I think we're failing to show. The potential is there. We're winning the 7-0, we're winning the 4-2, the 6-0, the what. However, when required, when needs must, to win 1-0, 7 games in a row, that's where we're failing. And that's the reason we're sitting third on the log right now. And so for that reason, these are the big games for me. However, I think just sort of going to the game, I think Royal AM is there for the taking. You know, what fun it is to waver. I know, having said that, it's one of those games you can lose. I still think they are there for the taking. I think this will pose a great opportunity for us to collect 3 points sort of with ease against them. Mainly because of why they set up. I'm just sort of thinking back to when we played them at the Orlando Stadium, and I watched 2 of their games. I think one was Stellenbosch, where they lost 3-0, and they lost 3-0 also against TS Galaxy. And I was just watching that, thinking about when we played them in the reverse fixture at Orlando Stadium, which was a night game, which was a festival atmosphere. I think we beat them 4-2 in that game. They've obviously since replaced the centre backs. They're playing with Gianni right now, and I think, is he Mabuza or something like that? But Gianni and someone at the back, they replaced who was the captain at the time, Manganyi, playing at centre back. However, I think they're not the most, having even replaced, who they're playing with, the personnel in some positions, I think they still look the same, to be entirely honest. I think one of their biggest problems in that game when we played against them, even now in the games that I watched, is that they're not the most compact teams. They're not the most compact of teams. There's so many gaps in between their defense and Kobedi, who is sort of their deep-lying playmaker. There's a lot of gap between the central midfield and the defense, and there's a lot of gaps for you to sort of penetrate through them. I think when I go back to Orlando Stadium, something that was a shock for me was how people like Maswanganyi could get the ball in those pockets, in the channels, and turn and face that defense and be able to pick out a pass, a through ball to Saleng or a pass to Mofokeng, or at the time I think we're playing with Zakhele Lepasa. So there's a lot of space. They're not very compact, and one of the ways to want to test, if you want to know Orlando Pirates is a really good team, is that you've got to give them space in the half spaces, then in the pockets, in the channels, in between your lines. If you give Orlando Pirates space in those spaces, then you'll definitely find out that we are a very good team because of the personnel that we have. And the other thing is that, sort of going back to that game again, we blitzed them in the first 30 minutes, scoring 3 goals. If you guys will remember, I think they conceded a penalty in the first goal. They conceded a penalty where Maswanganyi was brought down in the box, and then we scored. And then the second goal might have been Munapule Saleng, who found the top corner in that game. And then the third goal, I think Sipho Shaina had an assist where he played a ball over the top and found Zakhele Lepasa with one touch. He found the back of the net. And what was just so interesting, which I've seen is still something that they do now when I look at their games, is that they're very prone to giving the ball away in the center of midfield. And that's the reason number 2, or not reason number 2, it's another way, a second way to find out. If you want to know if Pirates is a good team, then turnover position in the midfield. I think if you give us those turnovers in midfield, then you'll find out that Orlando Pirates is a good team, because we are very good in that transition moment where we win the ball back and then 1, 2, 3, we're in your box and we score. And I think that's when actually we're the strongest, is when we're winning the ball back in the opposition's half, when they're a bit disorganized because they're trying to build up, they're trying to, move around, create those spaces, and then we win the ball back quickly and then we attack them. So again, Somi, Tobedi, Mahlasela in that midfield, very decent players, to be entirely honest with you, but very prone as well to lose the ball in the midfield. John Maduka wants his team to play out from the back, surprisingly. I mean, they're not the worst team in terms of quality, don't get me wrong. However, I don't think it works for them. They obviously, I mean, he'd be someone who will be quite adamant and stubborn and believe in his methods and all of that. He obviously wants Royal AM to be a team that plays the ball, right? But I think that's also to their detriment, because they give it away quite a bit. They're very prone to that sort of thing. I watched their Stellenbosch game, and again, Stellenbosch is one of those teams that you don't want to do that. You don't want to lose the ball in your half, because they're very quick in transition. Same thing with the Orlando Pirates. If we're not the best, we're probably second or third best with that kind of thing. I mean, I'd even put us as the best in transition moments. And so Maduka obviously wants Bomatlaba to play it out from the back. And so I think they'll be there for the taking for that reason, is that if they insist to want to play out, people like Ndlondlo, who was a star performer in that game against Royal AM, are very quick at snapping it off of your feet and then playing that one pass to whoever, Maswanganyi, Dlamini, the guys who are on form right now. Those guys will hurt you in those moments, especially with time and space. And so I think they're there for the taking. The other thing, again, what I said is, there's spaces in between their lines. Their centre back does step up again, which plays into our hands with the players that we have. Saleng, Mofokeng, Mabasa. Lepasa was definitely suited for that, with space in behind the defense, because he loves to run. Lepasa, we all know that, and he's very good at it. He runs into those spaces quite effectively. I think Mabasa is not so much of a runner, but I think he also thrives in that kind of thing where he's got space in behind the defense to pick a spot and find a finish, right? And so I think it will play into our hands a little bit, especially with them playing at their home. They will want to play an expansive game, I think. I don't think they'll set up to sit and be compact. I think they'll try and go for it, especially fighting sort of in that relegation space. I think they're a couple of points ahead of the last place team, but I think they will try and win this game. They'll try and bring something to Orlando Pirates, and so it plays into our hands, right? And so for that reason, I think, I expect that we're going to win this game. I think with the players that we have, with the spaces that will be there in their team, in their midfield, in between their defense, their midfield, the aging of Matlaba and sort of their team is, for me, I think they're there for the taking. They also have some weapons just going forward. I think George, for me, who's their forward, is not so bad of a striker. I think he's quite a decent striker. Makoele is a direct winger, is very good at dribbling. I think he's one to look out for in this game, in that battle versus maybe Hoto playing at left back, or maybe Mayela will be playing there. So Makoele is one to watch on their wing, is someone who can dribble. Mahlasela in the midfield is a neat attacking midfielder. He's another one to watch. Kobedi, deep-lying playmaker. I know I spoke about how they're prone to losing the game, but he's another one for me who I think he's very good at making them play, right? And so, yeah, fascinating encounter, but I do expect that Orlando Pirates will take this one. And again, these are the games that I feel that we ought to win. These are the games that we must win if we want to challenge for that second spot. Let me leave it here. Until next time, up the Mighty Bucks. Cheers. I know you're craving some more of Talking Buccaneers content. Well, I have great news for you. If you hit that subscribe button right now, you'll stay up to date with all our future content.